Good morning. You listen to FloorDaily.net, and I'm Kemp Harr. This morning, my guest is John Finch, the CEO of the Legacy Group, a commercial flooring contractor based in Seattle. John, how you doing?
Very well, thank you.
We've done several articles about you, and I want to direct the listener to those articles. We did a best practices on you in April of 2019 and a focus on leadership on you individually in December of 2021. One of the reasons that we did all that is because when I first met you at a Fuse meeting, I thought, wow, this guy's all buttoned up. You started out as a firefighter and then became a waste hauler and then got in partnership with a guy based in Denver that was in this business and started this business 26 years ago. You just recently decided to exit the furniture business. And you told me last time we talked that it was kind of 80-20, 80% flooring and 20% furniture. Tell us a little bit about that decision.
A lot of that decision was based on the tea leaves, essentially. We needed to look at consolidating the furniture side of the business, to look at the profitability aspect. What is our general sales per head count? I try to typically be north of $1 million in sales to every head count administratively on my SG&A. We were taking a look at the furniture for the last year and a half and saying, okay, what do we need to do to tighten this up? We were going to need to make some pretty conservative cuts relative to the furniture team and support to be able to look at the revenue per employee. And we had a little bit of pushback from the team. I said, look, here's the thing. Under our banner, under Legacy Group Inc.'s banner, we need to achieve $1 million plus per head count. If we can achieve that, then we need to make cuts. They weren't wanting to make the cuts from the management aspect, so I had two junior partners who wanted to take it and run with it. So we came up with a deal and sold that in December of 2025.
And you are a privately owned company. And interestingly enough, you have both a son and daughter that work in the business, right?
Yeah, my daughter's been working there for over 5 years, and my son is just past his 2-year anniversary. My son's in the project management aspect in the field, and my daughter's was on the furniture team on account management and sales, and now she's converting over to floor covering sales.
How's business right now?
Business is actually pretty strong. I'm very encouraged. We've already met our 6-month milestone for booking goals this year that enacts a company-wide bonus. We pay half of the bonus in July if we meet that goal. We've actually exceeded it by about 8%. We fully expect to do about 20% greater than our expected booking goal in 2026, which is pretty encouraging. We're losing some sales from the furniture departure. However, we've fully restructured and how we're going about business and focusing on growing the flooring side of the business to make up for all that.
So you were $40 million last time we talked, and that included the furniture business. So obviously you're down a little bit below that now, right?
Yeah, we'll probably expect to be in the mid to low 30s this year, just from a regrouping.
I need to add that the last time we did a podcast, you were stepping in as the president of the board of Fuse. Mark Hutto had been doing it for 3 years. He was stepping down. You're actually now coming toward the end of your term, right?
I am. I've been on the board for several years, I think 6 years total, and 4 of those on the executive board. This is my last stint on the executive board as president, and I got to tell you, a lot of change, a lot of growth with Fuse. Super proud of what the organization has accomplished and extremely looking forward to passing the torch on to the next person. We've elected the next executive board, which will be announced soon. We still have about 6 months until that formal transfer happens.
Yeah. I was looking, you have a lot of fun on your website, and I direct the listener to look at that website because you have your favorite movie, favorite restaurant, a lot of fun going on. I noticed your HR has got an axe in her hand.
Yes. It's kind of ironic. She loves axe throwing. She does that with some fun with her family and friends. We thought it was pretty funny adding that from an HR perspective.
So just recently you were in Chicago for Chicago Design Week. What were some of your observations from coming to Chicago to check out what used to be known as NeoCon?
Yeah, I've been going for better part of 20 years. I've seen it go up and down, especially after COVID, go down considerably. Seems like the traffic's picking up again. A lot of that move to Fulton Market has changed the dynamic at the Mart. As a Fuse group, we collectively go around and meet with different manufacturers. We spend a quarter of our time at the Mart, and then we go to Fulton Market the rest of the couple days. For me to have it broken up like that kind of takes away from that intimate feeling of having it, even though the Mart's huge. It was kind of a nice feeling to have it all there and kind of pretty consolidated, and it's pretty fractured in my mind. So it kind of takes away from the effectiveness of being together. Yet it seems like the traffic's picked up. I know people are getting a lot more creative over at Fulton and doing street presentations and pop-ups and things of that nature.
Did you see anything that caught your eye that you're going to promote more?
A lot of the manufacturers are getting into different markets where they have been maybe touched before, but more intentionally. For example, Shaw getting into ceramic, Mohawk getting into the hero rubber, and finding different ways to connect with customers. A lot of them are getting into the accessories with the Total Works with Shaw, with the base and accessories with Mohawk. They're all trying different avenues to promote additional sales or complementary sales to their main products, carpet and vinyl.
I'd like to go back to your website because you've got this whole paddler's guide, this whole metaphor of your company being a canoe. I'd like to point out, people can look at your website and see you have a purpose. You carry this metaphor forward about being customer obsessed and strive to thrive, show up and be curious, need for speed, and make it fun. And you really do make it fun. So it's one of the reasons that we've shined the limelight on you several times. And you're part of a CEO group. I know it was called Vestige, and now you're the Vestige Degenerate. So you still get together with other CEOs, right?
We do. Matter of fact, we're meeting this coming Tuesday. We regularly, every month. Summertime, it gets a little squirrely with folks being out. But we still have the same core group, about 8 folks when we all left from the standard Vistage group and created our own off-brand to really tailor to what we need. A lot of us were seasoned CEOs and owners in the group that had very similar challenges, even though vastly different businesses and categories of business. It still is a sense of community amongst us to share best practices and to really, we all go through similar HR, business growth, banking, all the similar issues that everybody does, and it allows us to really collaborate.
Almost any meeting you go to, there's going to be somebody going to bring up AI. Sure. You and I both know that business is all about relationships. What's your thoughts about AI?
I use it a lot in communications. I use it a lot to polish how I'm communicating. For example, I use chat as well as Claude. Claude I use a lot in developing spreadsheets, KPIs, evaluating performance reviews. We use it as much as we can to accelerate pulling together information and putting together processes and forms.
So you see value in it as a more efficient way of getting work done, right?
Absolutely. And our salespeople are using different modalities in terms of looking for opportunities and leads. We're trying to find every way we can use it responsibly. And we've had to create an AI committee previously. We have best practices AI publication internally so that we use it responsibly. Sometimes if you're putting in financial analysis and looking at opportunities, you want to make sure that information stays close to you.
Don't use the free version, right?
Do not use the free version. That's open to everybody. So we have expanded our budget on the closed version to keep it that way.
Okay, John. It's great to catch up with you again. Been talking to John Finch, the CEO of the Legacy Group and the current president of the board for Fuse. And you've been listening to Kemp Harr and FloorDaily.net.